Hello, 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 everyone. Okay, so Facebook's done this weird thing with pages where you can't be yourself and your page at the same time, um, which means, it means I'm kind of out of contact with my hosts. So I'm just guessing that it's okay for me to start now. Um, And oh, look, see, people are coming in from the bar. I can see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to witter for about a minute um, while people pick up the fact that this is broadcasting. Um, I would tell our host to contact me if there's any problems, but they can't. They can't because Facebook won't let me be myself and my page at the same time, which means I also can't see any comments or weird stuff like that. Honestly, maybe it's because I'm a technophobic middle-aged woman. Maybe that's why it doesn't like me. So, let's crack on with the poem then, shall we? Somewhat like the angry youth, but rather longer in the tooth. We're gobby, feisty, loud, uncouth. We're disaffected middle-aged women kicking our heels against the walls, plotting in the shopping mall. Go tell them we're not playing ball. We're disaffected middle-aged women, armed with sertraline prescriptions, feminist magazine subscriptions, complaints of various descriptions. We're disaffected middle-aged women. We won't be judged on how we dress. We're going to save the NHS. We're doing yoga for the stress. We're disaffected middle-aged women with the leadership skills of Princess Leia and the kicks of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We don't chill out, we add a layer. We're disaffected middle-aged women. We're meeting to plan our strategy by the gates at school at 3:30, pumped up on hormone therapy. We're disaffected middle-aged women. So bosses and sexists, be afraid. We're not your skivvy or your maid. We don't care if our colours fade. We're disaffected middle-aged women. On an estate near you, fighting the cuts and misogyny too. Then home in time for a refreshing brew with a disaffected middle-aged woman. Well, obviously my dog was enjoying that and decided to heckle halfway through. So these are the dangers of gigging from home online. Fortunately, another member of my household has just come along, grabbed the dog by the collar and dragged it out of the room. So there you go. Please, no complaints from the animal lovers amongst you. The dogs are very well treated here. Okay, so that was me being a disaffected middle-aged woman. Of course, before I was a disaffected middle-aged woman, I was a disaffected youth. And I have this kind of hobby of rewriting the lyrics of songs from my disaffected youth. Um, in particular, songs that are written from the point of view of a man. I like to rewrite them from the point of view of the woman involved. So I'm sure those of you of a certain age remember the song Up the Junction by Squeeze. And it's sung by a bloke who gets together with his girlfriend. She gets pregnant really young, and everything goes wrong, and he drinks too much, and she leaves him and stuff. So I've rewritten it from her point of view, and this is called "The Girl from Clapham." I never knew it was Gordon, the guy who came from Morden. His face was cute and handsome, so that's when we began some adventures most romantic, impassioned snogging antics. He said I wasn't common. His shut-up lines were rotten. We rented an apartment and sat there in the darkness. Our income for domestics could not afford electrics till he got a job on Mondays flogging knock-off undies. And when we got the lecky, he just sat there watching telly. I put up blinds and pictures. He wanted to get hitched, but our money we'd be needing for another mouth for feeding. He said that I had trapped him. He didn't know how it happened. I told him in his anger that it takes two to tango. We squabbled through the winter. I felt and he drank bitter. He worked from dawn till evening while I did all the cleaning and picked up all the crap that he left around the flat, and it felt I was in prison as a girl in my condition. And when we had the baby, he said he'd help me. Maybe. He tried to make an effort, but pretty soon he left it. Sold the telly for a pony and pissed it up with Tony. Spent weekends like a loafer, passed out on the sofa. And now I'm 2 years older, I'm living with a soldier. I swapped a drunken loser for a fighter and abuser. He's always on his travels, and so my life unravels. It's just me and my daughter alone in army quarters. So I'm sat here in the barracks, peeling spuds and carrots, making stew and dumplings, the radio for company. And now the stupid beggar has sent another letter with his and my dysfunction. We're really up the junction. Yes, thank you very much. So today we are launching a compilation to raise money and support for the girls at Hope Orphanage. Hello, girls at Hope Orphanage. Hello, everyone else. Donate some money, please. Okay, so I have a track on this here compilation. It's mainly music, but get a bit of spoken word in there. And if I remember rightly, the track I have on this compilation is this one that I wrote early in the pandemic last year, when I noticed that all the people who were singing the praises of the free market had suddenly gone quiet and expected the state to pick up the pieces. It's called Wherefore Art Thou Capitalism? No one's saying leave it to the market. No one's claiming competition's key, that stockbrokers will lead us from the darkness. No one's sneering now at stuff for free. No one says that laissez-faire will sort it. No one's saying we'll be saved by greed. None declare just those who can afford it should get the test and get the care they need. No one says we need more speculators. No one's calling care workers unskilled. No one waits for private ventilators. No one thinks compassion should be billed. No one says the rich should keep their fortunes instead of sharing wealth for common good. No one says they wouldn't pool resources to help the sick and frightened if they could. No one says it's fine to charge your damnedest. Supply will match demand and fix the prices. No one says that mutual aid is madness. No one trusts a banker in a crisis. But keep your guard for when this crisis passes and profit praisers raise their voice anew. When corporate beggars claim their place as masters, remember solidarity got us through. Tell them that we won't come back to serve them. Tell them profit damages our health. We'll share the riches, for we all deserve them, and build a democratic Commonwealth. Thank you very much, Sam. You can hear a less coffee version of that. It's not COVID, by the way, it's just a little throat. You can hear a less coffee version of that on the compilation. Please buy it. Please buy it for slightly more than it costs. Make a donation, help the excellent work going on there in Sierra Leone. If you like your poetry printed as well as recited, said poem also features in this book, Coronaverses, Poems from the Pandemic, along with 60 other poems, all written by various poets during the first week of lockdown a year ago. And that's available from my web shop, which is www.janinebooth.com/webshop, in both printed and ebook versions. And all the money, now we've covered our costs, goes to We Shall Overcome, which supports anti-austerity projects such as food banks and campaigns and stuff like that. So, yes, buy the compilation, buy the book. It's like I'm running a market stall here, isn't it? Okay, so look, well, let's stick on the subject of COVID for a little while. And we've noticed, haven't we, that it affects certain populations more than others, Black and ethnic minority people, frontline workers. The poorer you are, the more likely you are to be affected by it, etc. And this is kind of puzzle people. They go, oh, but surely they can't find any clinical reason why it would affect people differently. So maybe there's a social reason instead. So this is a short poem called All in It Together. They were all in it together, all in the same boat. From upper deck to lower, they'd sink as one or float. But some folk were in first class and they got out alive, while others were in steerage and they did not survive. The ship had too few lifeboats, and the lookout on the prow saw the iceberg didn't discriminate, as the virus doesn't now. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so let's carry on with the kind of COVID poems and also carry on with the kind of inequality themed COVID poems. So this one is recently written, so I hope I remember it. About different experiences in lockdown. This is called Locked Up and Down. If you're locked down with books and with someone who cooks better than you, then you'll probably get through. If you're locked down in the garden, then that's not quite so hard, and with a nice glass of wine, you'll probably be fine. If you're locked down with games and with people who play them and plenty of space, you can probably face it. If you're locked down with a list of tasks that you missed when you went out each day, you might be okay. But if you're locked down with damp and it's cold and it's cramped and breathing in spores, then it's not good indoors. If you're locked down with a primitive heater and not enough coins to keep feeding the meter and a smell that you hate, then that isn't so great. If your bubble is trouble and your mum's prone to falls, if your lockdown companion is climbing the walls, if he's working from home so you don't get your respite, or he's out of his job and his head's getting desperate, if you're locked down with a mental abuser, independence refuser, control over user, soaked in aggression and close supervision, who teaches you lessons with forensic precision. If you're locked down, with a partner come master, with nowhere to go to escape from the bastard, you're locked up and locked down in exactly the place, the home of your own, where you're supposed to feel safe. Remember the people, most of them women, whose lives were diminished or brought to an end before lockdown had finished. Dear me, it's getting a bit stressing this. I think it'll perk up in a bit. But I want to do one more about kind of lockdowny kind of stress, which is actually the unusual kind of unspoken stress of coming out of lockdown. That we've been in it for so long, and everyone just thinks, oh, it's going to be great when we're released again. But I think for a lot of us, that's actually quite scary. So this is called the roadmap ahead. What if I can't stand the train without the carriage to myself? What if I can't stretch and strain to reach up to the luggage shelf? What if all the outdoor seats are taken and the queue's too long and I don't recognise the streets and can't see left or right or wrong? What if I have lost the knack of getting by in crowded places? What if I just can't go back to seeing scowls and angry faces? What if I can't help but stare at strangers' lips no longer covered? And seeing noses free and bare shocks me, like I've just discovered human features for the first time. What if, even though I've tried, I still go out at just the worst time, turn around, run back inside? What if I've forgotten how a conversation's supposed to go? And I don't spot that knitted brow, the gestures I'm supposed to know? What if I can't find my mask, the one I've worn for years and years? What if I'm afraid to ask, my voice box torn out by my fears? What if I weld to the ground, my feet won't move, my mouth won't open, or if it does, it makes no sound? What if all my thoughts are broken? What if I can't ever buy goods from a non-essential shop? What if when I start to cry, it turns out that I cannot stop? What if everybody else is coping fine and doing well? What if I'm the odd one out, locked down in my private hell? What if I have missed your touch so much that I can't let you go? What if holding you is such a high that I can't face a low? What if I am like that bird that's let out, but it doesn't fly? What if I don't say a word and let these terrors pass me by? Thank you very much. That and all the other publishable poems that I wrote about COVID are in a forthcoming book called Unprecedented Rhymes versus the Virus by Janine Booth, brackets unmuted. So that will be available on my web shop shortly at the printers at the moment, should be out in a couple of weeks. So do watch out for that one. Okay, so let's do one more little COVID poem. And much though I usually do kind of ranty, lefty, unstructured kind of rhymes, I do sometimes dabble in the world of formal poetry. And there's a type of formal poem called a triolet, which is a little eight line thing. And although it's only got 8 lines, loads of them are repeated. So it really doesn't take much effort to write them. So it takes a little bit of effort to remember them. So if you hear lines being repeated in this poem, it's because they're supposed to be, not because I was too bloody idle to write any new ones. So this is about the excitement of being invited for a vaccination, and it's called Grab That Jab. Stick that needle in my arm. Get me safe and vaccinated. Hush the waves of false alarm. Stick that needle in my arm. Protect the herd from virus harm. Stay cool and keep refrigerated. Stick that needle in my arm. Keep me safe and vaccinated. Thank you very much. That's enough COVID poems. But while we are on the subject of formal poetry, proper poetry, I decided a few years ago that I would learn a bit about proper poetry. So I read a biography of Philip Larkin. That seemed like quite a good place to start. And there's this bit in it that is about when he was an undergraduate at Oxford University in the 1940s. And it refers to a friend he made there as, amongst other things, an author of several unpublished books. And, you know, sometimes when you're a poet or no doubt a lyricist, a phrase just jumps out at you and says, that would make a good refrain line. Why don't you use that in a poem? And then I started thinking through the politics of that and realizing that if you were a bloke, an undergraduate man at Oxford University in the 1940s, and therefore very, very posh, and you were the author of several unpublished books, it was almost certainly because your books were shit. Whereas for everyone in that position, there are thousands upon thousands of working class women and men who are also the authors of several unpublished books, not because their books were shit, but because they didn't have that level of privilege of access to resources to get their books published, or maybe life got in the way of them writing them in the first place, which is a long, waffly introduction to one of my favourite of my poems. This one, I like this one. It's called Unpublished Author. A traveller to worlds of unvisited places, a winner of numerous unstarted races, a painter of touch-ups that could have been pictures, designer of unproduced fittings and fixtures, inventor of gadgets that never made patent, finds skills unfulfilled and fierce passions still latent, a cordon bleu chef feeds her kids what she cooks, an author of several unpublished books. A washer, a soldering soprano who sings in the shower, an artist who hires out her craft by the hour, a teller of stories, a co-educator, a thinker, philosopher, poet, creator, composer of lullabies heard just at home. Her life may stand still, but her mind likes to roam, a scrawler of lines stuffed in crannies and nooks, an author of several unpublished books. A washer of dishes, a wiper of arses, a lister of wishes, a dropout from classes where muse could have struck. She was clearing up muck or out earning a buck, or so tired she got stuck. A riser at dawn, she's a clock in and outer, she's patched up or worn, she's a serial self-doubter. The sleazeball at work says she's losing her looks. An author of several unpublished books. She'd dance in the dusk, but her neighbour's abusive. Containerised living is hardly conducive. She'd love to be noticed, but breaks are elusive. The one time she tried, the reply was conclusive. A writer of plot lines, deviser of hooks, and author of several unpublished books. A worker of overtime, Christmas is nearing, toiling in noise, getting harder of hearing. Watch time grinding onwards, her dreams disappearing. Her subconscious critic is constantly jeering. She's one of those stars whom our world overlooks, an author of several unpublished books. Thank you very much. So, I've got 10 minutes left. All right, I'm going to do another really new one, which hopefully I'll remember. Okay, so there's another type of formal type of poem, and this most formal types of poem have existed for centuries, but this is a newly created one, created by a poet called Terence Hayes a few years ago, called the Golden Shovel. And what a golden shovel does is it enables a poet to pay tribute to another poet's poem. And what you do is you take either the whole poem or a couple of lines you really like, and you make the words the last word of the lines of your new poem. So it's actually quite hard, and certainly hard to rhyme the end words. You can do internal rhymes and stuff if you like. But there you go. And I've started writing these golden shovels not in tribute to other poems, but to lyrics, lyrics of songs that I like. And about a couple of months ago now, well, several weeks ago now, received the tragic news that Kush from the Men They Couldn't Hang had died. And you know, they're a great band, one of my favourite bands. It's a really, really sad loss. And I wrote this poem as a golden shovel based on some of the lyrics from the song Scarlet Ribbons. So this is called Ribbons of Scarlet, and it is a tribute to Kush. At the peal of the bell, they don't tell you that there's a field that not everybody comes back from. The survivor is fearing that he'll never stop hearing the gunfire, even when the bun fight has stopped. And there's a vision you don't come back from. He's been seeing his mate in pieces, and only the drinking makes the thinking vision blurred. You've heard, you can still smell the stench of the acrid tench, and you can hold in your arms the passage of life into cold. And you can hear the tears and the bangs and taste the tangs of the gunpowder and gas. And even if you savour victory, its flavour still smacks of death. His voice won't sing these songs anymore, but on those war glory days, we can go back to the parade grounds of our own, singing along in the chapel of the men out on tour. We left fear at the door and dripped sweat and spilt beer on the floor and raised arms and voices to the songs of the battle, the mutiny, the scaffold, and the courthouse. What more could we need? Kush and Swill and the boys raise a toast, make the noise of rebellion, and the posters of lineups put mine up, stand back and say, hey, we can bellow out the truth and have fun. Rejoice. So the medals hang from ribbons, and the poppy's petals are scarlet, and the halls festooned with ribbons. Remembering, dwelling, carouselling, rousing calls to fight again, just in case this war didn't end war. After all, the main thing is that we won. Our boys bled out for a day in the sun. So wave your sanguine ribbons for those whose blood ran scarlet, whose tissue hangs in ribbons. There's a gift that some songs give you, and there's loss you don't come back from. But there's one thing I come back to, something that he sang for, the bloody truth that war is not glorious for everyone. Thank you very much. So I'm going to finish on one long poem. Okay. So I'm coming to the end of my half an hour. So I'm going to ask you again to please make a donation to the Hope Orphanage. Please buy the compilation that we are launching today. Throw in some extra money to help out with some really good work going on there in Sierra Leone. Also, if you want to buy this anthology, Corona Verses, you can do so from my web shop, janinebooth.com/shop. And what I should do to help out this cause is any of these well, actually, if you go there, you can buy that book, but you can buy various other things as well. And for everything anyone buys today or tomorrow, go on, or Monday, it is a bank holiday weekend, a quid from each sale I will throw into the pot for the Hope Orphanage. So that's another incentive to get over there and buy some stuff. JanineBooth.com/shop. Fantastic. So I'm going to end with a long poem, and it's a long poem about where I work. How I kind of where I work officially, not really, because I work on the night tube, and the night tube was stopped, it was suspended as soon as lockdown started, and there's no sign of it opening again. So I'm working a couple of day shifts a week at the moment. But hopefully it will come back, because night tube, aside from anything else, is a wealth of source material for a poet. So this is a long poem based on my observations of my lovely passengers who travel on the night tube. And it's called Night Tube. Pushing 2 o'clock, and Julie and Sue are on their way home after pogoing to a Buzzcocks tribute band. They wear the band, got the t-shirt, got the buzz, fallen in love. Probably shouldn't have. Their youngest are old enough to be out with mates or out on dates, so their mums can stay out late. This is one of those nights, what do I get? Love bites. Dean is Mr. Clean and squeaky until work's finished for the week, and he and the other smart blue suits in shiny shoes, not boots, go for just a swift one, you know. But that was 8 pints and a chaser ago, and he thinks the last one might have been off. A gallon of banter and one-upmanship, and sharing nachos with cheesy chips and sour cream dips. It's great is this, stay late, get pissed, no last train to miss. Sandy and Casey, hands interlaced, trying to be discreet but easily seen, topping up in the corner by the ticket machine. Fingers lingering, kissing goodbyes till they drift away to their different lines and home to their respective husbands and or wives. Good night out, Petal. Yeah, just fine. Nothing special. Never mind. Wasted elastic bagged in plastic found by the gate on platform 8. Left by accident or dropped as waste. Suspect package or just suspect taste. If you didn't want that crop top, you could have dropped it off over the road at the charity shop. Accepts all night. Oh, sorry. Accepts all night deposits and all night withdrawals. Trawler trawling through the shawls and drawers, hoping she scores. Nick's waiting for his daughter, silly mare. She's had too much to drink, but we've all been there. Can't work out the route from that station to this. Too pissed. And the friends who egged her on are gone. Jump in a black cab, Dad'll get the fare. Rings in her ears and something in her hair. Went out though she didn't have a stitch to wear. Phil and Will and their neighbour's son still haven't had their fill of fun. They're right fucking Larry. Go on, dare me. He's a real lawbreaker. He stopped the escalator. Lie on the platform, wave your legs in the air. You will if you dare. Go on, show us your ass. Do it for a laugh. He's got class, he has. Fucking chav. Sepp tripped as he stepped off the train. Tooth chipped, split lip, ankle sprain, mouthful of blood and words and pain. Can't complain. Wasn't even tipsy, hadn't had a sip. Unsteady on his feet, he uses a stick, but he couldn't get a seat. And now his heel feels even worse than his gum, but the medics won't come because he's conscious and breathing. So he's failed the triage. His friend is seething, give it large, but it won't get him up the priority list. Not even pissed. Through the ticket gate comes May. It's been a long day and she's been a long way, but at least her dad knew who she was today. By the time she'd got him off to bed and got away, the day was dead. She'd love to stay, but her kids need her too. May has so many things to do, and now she's travelling with the nightclub crew. Nights out unravelling on the night tube through to the end of the line, about bloody time. Degsy begs outside for the price of a ride, hoping to tap some happy party goer or returner, nice little earner, who'd like to share some of their good fortune, spare some change for an unfortunate stranger. He'd like some milk of human kindness. Instead, he gets a shiner from some mindless violence. And so it goes on until the gradual, inevitable, almost imperceptible switch in flow from those going home from the lock-in to those going out to clock in, to jobs, not the sought after well-paid sort, but sorting mail, chasing tails, clearing plates, unlocking gates, early starts, good in parts. Looking for something to read is Lionel. Too late for last night's West End final. Too early for the morning papers. Too early to be up at all, but he got the call. Hates getting up before the sun does. What sleeping does, waking undoes. Will the daylight do what the coffee failed to, as night dew turns back in to day dew? Thank you very much for listening to me. My name is Janine Booth, janinebooth.com. Please buy the album, donate some money, get involved. Solidarity to the girls at Hope Orphanage and to Punk for the Homeless. Thank you very much. Goodbye.